It was in 2013 that Edward Snowden revealed how the government was secretly collecting data on our everyday lives, and little has changed. Today, it's bigger than ever, and it's not only the government spying on us. Your data isn't just being collected, it's being shared, analyzed, and sold to anyone with a buck. So the question is no longer if, it's how, by whom, and to what end. And here's where it gets personal. If you're employed, or even applying for a job, there's a good chance your activity is being tracked. Not only your social media, but keystrokes, screens, emails, location, even how long you pause between tasks. This isn't hypothetical, it's built into the tools that many companies already use, and this is how they do it. First, it's important to understand that 78% of U.S. employers use some form of employee monitoring, and the average company uses more than 3 different tracking methods at the same time. So this isn't some fluke or rare problem with employers. It's the rule, not the exception. Many employers use monitoring software on work devices by installing tracking tools directly onto laptops or desktops. These can log your keystrokes, take periodic screenshots, or even record your device screen. They can track which apps and websites you use and measure idle time or how long you pause between actions. Well-known monitoring softwares are by Terramend and Hubstaff. Now, we're going to look at which one you are most likely to encounter at your work. 82% of employers track which websites and apps you are accessing, and 68% specifically track your internet usage. So, stay off the internet during business hours if it's not work-related. 78% of employers track your time utilization, specifically your idle versus active time. So, if your job is computer-based, too much time not on it will get you flagged. Between 54 to 55% of employers actually monitor your emails, chats, and private messages. So you might want to watch who you blind copy, because they know. About 41% of employers use screen capture and recording tools, so they know exactly what's on your screen. This method, by the way, is super common in remote working situations. One of the most invasive methods out there is called keystroke logging, and it's used by 28% of employers. Some studies even show that up to 45% track your typing and mouse activity, so they know every single digit or emoji that you type. About 1 in 4 employers use GPS tracking, but if you work out in the field, in delivery, logistics, or if you use a company phone or vehicle, the chance of GPS tracking is extremely high. And in total, 86% of all companies use some sort of real-time reporting on your activity, so they're basically watching you as you work, even when you don't see them. Just think of your boss looking over your shoulder all day long. Pre-employment surveillance numbers are very high. 95% of all U.S. employers conduct some form of background screening, which has become pretty much universal. If you're applying for a job, you should just assume that they're checking your background. 78 to 94% of employers run criminal history checks. It really makes you question how convicted offenders are getting into our schools, doesn't it? 83% of potential employers run Social Security and skip traces on applicants. And over 75% also run non-criminal checks like your education, past employment, and so on. This is basically how a profile is being built on you. 70% of employers now check social media, and 54% of candidates are actually rejected based on their social media presence. Then there's that 16 to 62% that still do credit checks. But this is most often in financial roles where people have access to money. Now we get to the deep dives into your history through data brokers who have compiled profiles on you from public records, online behavior, and various databases that you have interacted with. These data brokers included companies like Axiom, LexisNexis, and others that you've probably never seen. But they know more about you than you think, because they don't collect your data the way you'd expect. Data brokers don't need to hack you. They don't need your permission in any meaningful way that you would recognize or identify. They build it from everything already floating around your life. Your public records online purchases, app usage, social media activity, and even loyalty cards and simple website visits. Every small action on your part becomes a piece of a much larger profile that exists about you, and it's not just at the level of the CIA anymore. Once those pieces are assembled, they don't just know what you did, they start predicting what you'll do next, and that's the scariest part. That is the thought police that you've heard about in movies like Minority Report. Let's look at the footprints you leave. In public records, there's your property records, voter registration, court records, and business or corporate filings. When you sign up for a loyalty card, use an app, shop online, or enter giveaways or sweepstakes, your data is often shared or sold via contracts that are buried in the terms and conditions. You know that IQ test that you can't resist. They aren't doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They are selling every response you click. Then there's the ad tech networks, who collect information on you with cookies and pixels on websites that you visit, as well as mobile advertising IDs and app usage data. So one company collects your data and sells it. That profile then gets combined with other profiles or datasets to create a much more detailed profile where they begin to predict your future actions. They don't just store your information. The profiles and predictions created about you include your estimated income range, your shopping habits, your health interests, your political leanings, and even the likelihood of your moving, divorcing, or buying a home. Your credit risk and financial stability. They know if you are an urban professional or part of a budget family. Have you ever noticed that when you search for something, you are relentlessly spammed with that product? Even life events that you haven't publicly shared, like a divorce, will appear in your profile that then gets packaged and sold to advertisers, financial companies, and sometimes even to employers and insurers. So, potential employers know if you are on antidepressants or lost your child to children's services. The question today isn't just who has your data. It's how many versions of you already exist in databases that you'll never see. And right now, there is no single system fully stopping it. So, some states have started to introduce privacy laws, and it's kind of odd, but California is one of the few to really step up and limit information on its citizens. I have to wonder, is that to protect the elite, or maybe just to enable fraudsters to go undetected? Don't know, but most of this system still operates in the open, quietly, legally, and at a massive scale. Which brings us back to the real issue. This isn't just data collection anymore. It's behavioral profiling at an industrial scale, and it doesn't appear to be going anywhere. The first question that should probably pop into your mind is whether this is legal or not, and in many cases it actually is. Especially if you're using company devices or networks, employers can monitor activity with employment disclosures buried in policies that you probably never read. But the fact is, you really have no choice if you want to work. But not all of the spying is actually allowed. Monitoring can cross the line when it becomes excessive, deceptive, or extends into your personal devices and off-hours behavior without clear consent. These laws exist on the state level, so they vary. Some regulation exists, but it's fragmented, and there's really no single federal law that regulates these data brokers. This is why you can't even answer your phone anymore, because you're bombarded with auto-dialers and spammers who seem to know everything about you. Federal efforts to stop it have been pretty limited so far, and I have a question for you. Consider that John McAfee could have all of the dirt on the elite fraudsters because his software protected government computers for decades. Do you mind this invasion of privacy if it enables us to prosecute people that are committing crimes against humanity? Do you mind if they have all of Anthony Fauci's emails? Maybe the benefit is greater than the intrusion at this point in time. I don't know. So the key issue is no longer just one site spying on you. It's really the aggregation of information by so many systems surveilling you. Individually, each piece of data seems pretty harmless. I mean, so what if a news site dropped cookies on you to save your log-on information, right? The problem is that the information about you doesn't stop at that site. They monetize you, and when combined, this aggregation creates a detailed behavioral portrait of a person who never consciously consented to that level of profiling. So, can the cat be put back in the bag? Not completely, but you can limit it. The bottom line is that data brokers exist because the system is legal, profitable, and largely invisible to consumers. We're not dealing with one company. We're dealing with yet another matrix or ecosystem that connects advertising, apps, financial data, and public records into a single commercial intelligence network that isn't just your government. It's really anyone with the money to buy it. Since we can't rely on laws, we must take action if we want to limit the harvesting of our data. The data brokers collect and sell your information. But now there's an entire category of tools designed to slow them down. And there's a list of links in the video description if you want to clean up your profile. Some try to remove your data from broker databases, while others try to stop it from being collected in the first place. So it's important to address what's already been collected as well as limit future harvesting of our information. The most direct solution is to use a service that removes the existing data, and I have 4 of them listed in the description, including Incogni, which contacts over 400 data brokers to remove your info. You can repeat removal requests every few months is a set it and forget it way. This is the best automated removal. Next is one of the oldest services founded in 2010, and it's called Delete Me. This one used human teams to manually remove your data from hundreds of data broker sites. There's also a service called Optory, which removes data from hundreds of broker and people search sites. This one is a combination of automation and human review and actually gives you a visual report showing where your data is being collected. And the last one that I've listed is called Aura, which removes data from over 200 brokers and monitors your risks. This one also includes identity theft protection, so it's a good overall protection. Next, let's look at ways that won't clean up what's already out there, but will limit collection of your data in the future. And the easiest way is your browser. Even though it's down 1.5% from a year ago, Google still has 90% of the search traffic, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why. While they still overwhelmingly dominate searches, this decline is the largest in over a decade and represents billions of searches, so we are making a difference. I changed to DuckDuckGo years ago, but there's another browser that I use also, which is called Brave. Both of these search engines block trackers and reduce data sharing by default, so I highly recommend switching to one of these. You can also use VPNs or a virtual private network, which makes you anonymous to any website that you access through it. The most popular are Surfshark and ExpressVPN, which both encrypt traffic and mask your IP address, effectively hiding your location and activity patterns. The only problem I have with VPNs is that they are very slow because you are passing through a middleman, but if you have the time, they are a good way to prevent profiling. The third thing you can do is avoid smart devices like Alexa, TVs, cameras, lights, refrigerators, camera glasses, cell phones, etc. They are all collecting information about you. What you eat, what you watch, what time you close your window blinds. And then there's your vehicle. Your every move in your car is being tracked. It knows your braking time, your following distance, and whether you use your turning signals or not. It even knows if you are prone to road rage. This data will determine your insurability and rates for your home, your car, and your life. But the most important thing that can be done lies with us right now. Some of this is avoidable by responsible online use. Don't post information about your kids or where they go to school. Don't tell the world when you will be on vacation or how you called in sick to work and went fishing. Don't call for the assassination of government officials. While it's the nature of some to seek attention and acceptance online, the smartest thing to do these days is to keep your business to yourself, or it could come back to bite you in the butt. Where do you stand on this issue? Are you okay with the level of surveillance, and by who? There are some things that can be done to mitigate the invasiveness, like requiring explicit opt-in consent rather than those opt-out systems hidden away in the fine print. The problem with this is that most people would probably opt out. I know I would. Congress could, for example, ban the sale of certain sensitive categories of data, like our social security numbers, which can be used for fraud. States can also require mandatory data broker registration and audits. On top of that, they can put limits on data resale chains and create stronger enforcement penalties. When you look at the big picture, we're really looking at more than one issue. It's a long-term pattern of systems that have been operating quietly in the background. Like so much in today's society, data collection, behavioral tracking, profiling, and information aggregation didn't appear overnight. The deep state digital matrix has been building this surveillance monster for decades, gradually becoming more advanced, more automated, and more embedded into our everyday lives. It all crept up on us, didn't it? Most of us never see it happening directly. We just see the results like ads that feel too coincidental, decisions that feel automated, and systems that seem to just know. But underneath all of it is the same foundation. Our information is being collected, combined, and used in ways that most people were never clearly shown or fully asked about. And whether you view that as convenience, progress, or something else entirely, the important part is this: you can't respond to systems you can't see. So we'll keep breaking down these layers as clearly as possible so that you begin to see what's really happening beneath the surface. Once we stop assuming that every media story tells the whole truth, the pattern becomes harder to ignore. The fraud, the cover-ups, the conflicts of interest, the money trails, the selective outrage, the buried details, it all starts to connect. And that's why this channel exists. To look at what's being hidden, test it against the facts, and follow the trail without the fake outrage and without pretending the impossible is impossible. If you're looking for a place that evaluates the narratives and breaks them down with reason instead of denial, subscribe and stay with me, because the next layer is already out there waiting to be exposed.